Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel, and I'm so happy to have you here. If I don't say that, no, I always mean it because I don't take it lightly that just maybe you found me and you're tuning in, or you're following me and you're tuning in because I really love helping people. It's what I've decided I get the most joy out of. And as a program manager for many, many years, managing very large, very complicated, very complex projects all over the world, which feels like a completely different version of me. I loved that job too, but at the end of the day, I was helping people. And it's nice to be able to understand what you're here to do, right? And that's what I want to talk about today. How do you become undeniable, unstoppable? Because when we're trying to build businesses or even just trying to change our lives, so I don't care if that is you've decided to get fit, you've decided to learn a new language, you've decided to learn to play the piano. It's a dream of mine. I want to learn to play the piano. My dad was actually able to play from ear, so I grew up listening to him play but never learnt myself, right? So it doesn't, anyway, I digress as usual. I ramble. Um, so and undeniable, let me stay on topic if I can, right? It's a decision. And I think that's one of the hardest things for us to understand because we all want these things, we all desire them. So, what is truly the difference between somebody who's desiring a new version of themselves, a new life, a new business, more money in their business, more clients to help, like I said, piano or a language or losing weight or getting fit? The reality is one person will achieve that and a lot of people will not. Is there a difference between the desire between the people that get there and the people that don't? No, I actually don't think there is. I think that we all desire things very similarly. So, what is the gap? What's that thing that comes in between? And I'll often talk about that as being belief. And people will look at me sideways and go, well, I believe I can do it. And I agree. I think deep down inside of us, when we have such strong desire, we feel that we can achieve it. That's why we have the desire, in all honesty, right? Because we know that it's available to us. Otherwise, I don't think we would ever desire it. It's like me. I don't desire to go and do backflips on a beam, on a balance beam. Maybe as a little kid I did, but I was never that flexible. But I don't desire it as I am today because I don't want it. I know I can't achieve that, but I do know I can achieve a business where I get to help lots of beautiful people and I can ride my horses to a certain level. I desire it and I know it. But here's the disconnect. It's is belief, because what is a belief? A belief is simply a sentence you've thought so many times that it is now unconscious to you because you just believe it. Like you believe the sky is blue, the grass is green, that you are. Oh, I've lost my train. I was trying to give some good examples here of what beliefs are. But okay, here's one, and it might stick a little bit that you're not good enough, right? Because that is a belief that you created in childhood. Because in childhood, to survive, we had to think these types of sentences, perhaps, or we constructed these sentences without understanding that those sentences, repeated many times, just become beliefs. And those beliefs end up in your primitive subconscious brain, which is what you use to function without conscious awareness. Now, that's a lot of words. So, how do I say it? It's your Larry lizard brain. It's the things you do on repeat in a pattern that are habitual and routine because you've done them so many times, you no longer have to think about them. And that to me is the difference between those who get their desires and those who do not. And it is a bridge that we need to cross because I truly believe everybody is capable of achieving their desires, provided they're willing to show up, change patterns, habits, routines, beliefs every single day. And when you're starting out on the pathway to a new desire, you have to set a big, hairy, audacious goal. I truly believe that. If you're not setting goals or you're setting goals that don't stretch you, so, a goal is I'll have a cup of tea in 10 minutes. That's not going to stretch or change me or create a new identity in me, is it? It's just not going to do it. So we need these big, hairy goals because we need to then commit to doing the work that will be required to create the goal. to achieve the desire. That is the gap. Because in order to do that, we have to do something which I call shift your identity. You are who you are today. Who you are today doesn't have what you desire. So therefore, you need to become a different version that does. And the gap in between is action and execution. That action and execution is everything because Larry doesn't want you doing any of that shit. Larry wants you to do the same stuff every single day in the same way. That's why there's patterns, habits, and routines, right? That's why we do the same thing. We're on autopilot. We have to turn the autopilot on, take over, be back in control. And I truly feel in the bones of my body that we have to plan that stuff out. We have to strategically map it and plan it because how else do we know when our new identity is running the show or Larry slipped back into the driver's wheel? And Larry is very, very clever because Larry will often dress it up in a way that makes logical sense. No, you can't talk about that. People might dislike you. No, don't post that. That's not right. You can't post that. Oh no, I don't want to do that launch because what's the point? Nobody will come. That's Larry, and they sound reasonable and sensible, right? Don't launch because you've tried in the past and you couldn't get an audience. So unless something's changed, don't do it again. But he's forgetting a key ingredient. He's forgetting that there is a skill gap. And how do we overcome and learn new skills? By repeatably, can't speak English today, by repeatably, is that even a word? By repetition. It's better, right? I.e., you have to learn a new skill. The only way to learn a new skill is to do it frequently so that you fail face first, oftentimes, and you learn from it. That is the key. And no human on this planet wants to learn. If you've got come learn XYZ with me, most people go, oh, I want to learn that, or come understand XYZ. These are marketing tips anyway. I'm digressing. So what do? We try it, we fail at it. Now, don't just try because we're going to do it because our strategic plan says to get this desire, we need to become this version of ourselves, create this new identity. That new identity will need to show up differently. They will need to learn and adapt and change and embrace new things. And more importantly, they will need to create sentences that can create new beliefs. So one of the ones I get my guys to do a lot of inside my BFF club is to simply change things. So when their brain offers, I don't know, I don't know is a big slamming door shut on your brain because then your brain can go off to Hawaii, drink a pina colada on the beach and not have to think because you've said, I don't know. So it shuts it all down. You think about when you're out with your partners or in your family situation and somebody says to you, where should we eat? Who's the one that says, oh, I don't mind? That's just giving up power. That's giving up control. That's also letting Larry win because I don't mind means you don't have to solve a problem. You don't have to think about it anymore. You stay comfortable. Well, creating what you desire means zero comfort. 9 times out of 10, you have to put yourself out there. You have to change what you're doing. You have to create new thoughts. So those thoughts, I don't know, but actually I'm going to figure it out. I don't mind. No, actually, I do mind. Let's go eat here. Those are little steps. Or if your brain offers, oh my God, this is hard. I often will now just put on the end and I tell my club people, yeah, it is hard. But that's because we want to create this. So we're going to do hard things. And if we coach our brain in that way, and I often talk about Larry being outside of me, because if Larry is me, whew, I wouldn't do a thing because it would just be a constant argument in my brain and I would be beating up myself with myself all day long. It'd be madness. Whereas if it's just Larry, then I can recognize that that's my former self. That's my former identity. That identity was great. That identity helped me survive. It helped me get to this point, but I don't want to survive anymore. I want to thrive. I want to succeed in a lot of things I haven't succeeded in. I want these things that I still desire. So I'm willing to now get to work. I am willing to embrace hard things. I am willing to change who I am. I am willing to show up differently. I am willing to fail spectacularly because in failing, I'm going to learn something and I'm going to apply it and I'm going to do it again better and I'm going to keep doing that until I get there. And that is the difference, my friends, between somebody who has a desire and achieves it, and somebody who has a desire and does not. It is the work in between. It is becoming the new version of you. It is upgrading your identity. I call that identity shifting. It is constantly seeing what Larry wants to do and probably telling him he's got to do something else. And it is you embracing the journey and finding a big, hairy, audacious, challenging goal that has you on fire, that has you in action, that has you showing up, that has you constantly striving to be that version of you. I promise you, if you do that, you will get what you desire. If you don't, if you stay on what I like to sort of call the fence of indecision, oh, I want to do it, but I don't. I want to do it, but I don't. Guess where you're going to end up? Okay? Nowhere, right? Because that's just, we know that. If we look back to our past 6 months, if we want a different 6 months, something changes today. So that is something that I am passionate about. I hope my passion is coming through. And that's why I created my club, because I don't think you can do identity shifting work on your own. And I also don't think that you are able to build a business without identity shifting. And I don't see that out there. I don't see anybody else marketing it in the way that I do, whereby we're setting strategic plans to build our businesses along with upgrading our identities and tracking that. Because if you don't track it, then weeks go by where your brain logically tells you, well, I'm not ready to put this copy out. I just need to tweak it a little bit. And maybe my website could do with this update. And maybe. And it sounds plausible, but you're not shifting identities. You're procrastinating. You're still on the fence of indecision. So that is why we marry them, right? We have a strategic plan. We have business goals, and some of them are bloody scary. They're big, hairy ass goals, but we also break that down into smaller, achievable steps so that we can see our identities evolving and changing. And that's the work that you've got to do. And that's the work I hope you're doing. And if you are anything like I was, where you're spending 2, 3, 4 years circling the drain, thinking you're doing stuff, but your bank account doesn't reflect it, and your bank account is your mirror. Your business is your mirror, but the bank account is the result of that, right? It's what I say with horses as well. My horse is my mirror. What I'm thinking is always what he can do. So if I'm thinking I can't do something, it doesn't happen. And so we have to constantly strive. Whew, that's a ramble. I hope you got something from this ramble. If you did and you're still with me, as I like to keep reminding everybody now, please give me a thumbs up so that I know that somebody here got some value out of what I'm rambling on about. And if you want to hear me talk like this about other topics, then please subscribe. I do these things reasonably regularly now. At some point, I will get to a pattern, but right now, I just am on a mission to change me, improve who I am, change my identity, because I'm on a huge hairy ass goal. I want 50 beautiful people working with me so that we can all work together, help each other evolve, change, and crush this thing called business building and become the versions of us that ultimately get our desires. And I know I can cope with 50 in my group program, which is a very weird membership. It's not like anything else out there. And as I often say to my members when they come in and they're like, I just can't believe that this exists. I'm like, I told you, nothing else out there. But the only way for you to know that was to come in. It's an interesting dynamic. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling. Have a great day. Please start to dial in what this little lizard brain, Larry, says to you. Catch yourself if you start to say, it's too hard, or I'm not good enough, or this will never work, or it's not working, anything like that, or I don't know how. Just add yet, or it's possible. It's possible I don't know how, but it's also possible I can figure it out, because it softens it and it lets your brain keep figuring it out. Because, guys, your brain knows. Your brain knows. Because if it was just you needed a new strategy or more information, you'd be there already, because those are everywhere. Alrighty, take care. Bye.